Well, Jurgen Klopp arrives at Anfield for his penultimate home game as the Liverpool manager. Yesterday's results pretty much confirmed he will not get his fairy tale ending, but he's never lost a Premier League match in May. He'll be hoping that record continues this afternoon. It is Liverpool against the Tottenham Hotspur team that have not won here since 2011, and it is a 4:30 kick-off at Anfield. Very good afternoon, welcome along to Matchday Live. We're going to build up to kick-off in the company of Chris Kirkland and Jason McAteer. Good afternoon.
Frodo Baggins, I am. I mean, look.
We asked to move, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't have it.
Surely I should be on the outside on the wing.
Well,
you should be able to go wherever you want. You basically run this programme, don't you?
Thank you.
We don't see it often anymore.
I used to, Kirky.
Yeah.
I used to.
It's like a solar eclipse. You don't see it very often, but when we do, it's special, isn't it?
It's very special. No, it's great to be back. Obviously, I'm out in Qatar and in the studio. It's nice to get back amongst friends, but see football live. I do miss a live game, especially coming to watch Liverpool as a fan as well. Not so great where we are right now, having seen us 4 weeks ago challenging for the title, but still. You know, there's optimism, and you know, hopefully we get a good performance today.
Yeah, Jason said it is special, Chris, but you can't help but feel a little bit of a sense of anti-climax with this game for what we thought it might be 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And hoped, and we were all hoping, but April's been a tough month. I think we also highlighted the Man U away game in the Cup. I think that after that knocked the stuffing out of us, and it had a lasting effect, and unfortunately it looks like the title's over. But listen, let's not forget what Jurgen's done. You know, it's about Jurgen now and celebrating what he's done over the last 9 years. Obviously, the Wolves game will be his last game. It'll be really emotional for him, and I'm sure a lot of fans, because he's brought a lot of amazing times while he's under his tenure. Some of the games that we've seen, some of the performances we witnessed, he'll go down in folklore, and rightly so. Let's enjoy him the last couple of games and give him what he deserves, which is an amazing send-off.
We were speaking about the 96-97 season when you were trying to win a title with Liverpool, but
yeah.
How difficult it is when you've pushed so hard for something that when it becomes out of reach, where you do find the motivation for the remaining games of a season.
Yeah, I was talking to the stat guys in the media room there, the gurus on the history of the club and stuff, and they were telling me 6th of April, I think it was, we were sitting second, very much in the title race. And Coventry came here, and Dion Dublin, who in fact who's here today, scored 2 headers.
Oggy in goal,
he would have been, yeah, he would have been. I know Jamo was in goal for us, but we got done by 2 set pieces, and we lost the game, and it knocked the stuffing out of us. And like Kirky said before, it can have a lasting effect, and unfortunately we ended up finishing 4th. I think we won 2 of the last 7 games. You kind of, when you're in it, the energy is just there, but then when you get the stuffing knocked out here and it's a defeat and the other teams win above you and they make the gap bigger, then you do start feeling it mentally and physically. So it's tough, but yeah, it's such a shame. It's such a shame where we were from 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You can't explain it sometimes, like you said. Sometimes it's one of them games where it does literally, people say, well, bounce back, but sometimes you do get this stuffing knocked out of you. And of course you want to bounce back, and of course you want to go and win the next game, but sometimes things linger, and it's what's cost us. Old Trafford away has definitely cost us.
I do think, though, Kirky, I do think out the 3 teams that were going for the title, City, Arsenal and Liverpool, it was always Liverpool, I felt, the way they played, having come back so many times, having conceded first. I mean, 28 points from a losing position is just, you can't keep that up, and it was always on the edge, wasn't it? It was chaotic, it was always on the edge. I just feel the other 2 teams, City have obviously got the blueprint to do it, Arsenal a bit more organised and a bit more disciplined. That's not to say Liverpool couldn't have gone on and done it, because they could have done, but unfortunately it hasn't happened.
Clean sheets, Jay, as well. We've not kept enough defensive. And listen, it's difficult. It's easy for everyone to stand there, well, you can see too many goals. Yes, we have, but over the year when we won the league, when we finished second, we had the best defensive record, the most clean sheets. It's no coincidence. You look at all the teams over the years, 9 times out of 10 the teams that go on to win things defensively are pretty solid. Arsenal just won the Golden Glove into this year. Whether they're going to win it or not, I'm not sure, but they'll either finish first or second. So next season for me, today as well, clean sheet. That's the biggest thing. Now next season we need to get back and cut the silly goals out. Some of the goals we've conceded are far too easy, and we've not seen that in the previous years. So we need to get back to basics, because we'll always have players that will score goals. We've just got to keep them out more and out the back.
We've talked about motivation for Liverpool between now and the end of the season. Certainly motivation to beat Tottenham here today after the reverse fixture earlier in the season ended in controversy in North London.
Well, this has a feeling of a really, really big game. It is always a big game when Tottenham and Liverpool go head-to-head. Curtis Jones has penalised a yellow card as well for the Liverpool man. And this is going to change, and it's a red card for Curtis Jones. Anyway, Salah's going to try and run through Van de Ven there, and he's threaded it on for Luis Diaz. And Luis Diaz! Oh, it's not going to count. That looked for all the money in the world, like the trailing leg of Romero played him onside. Well, maybe we must be seeing something wrong there, Gary.
Absolutely perfect.
That's a ball for Richarlison, and that's a goal for Son. It's almost like long for Van Dijk. Matip will go for it. Gakpo trying to turn. Oh, does brilliantly. And now Liverpool have to work overtime. Diogo Jota is going to go into the book here. That's nicely done by Udogi. Diogo Jota's been penalised again, and Liverpool are going to be reduced to 9 men here. Space is wide. It's for Pedro Porro. It's across the face of goal. Joel Matip has put it into his own net.
Yeah, a devastating end to a dramatic night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and VAR has never been far away from the conversation right throughout the course of this Premier League season. Not just VAR, but the standard of officiating in general.
Yeah, listen, it has been poor and it does cause controversy, and to be honest, I'm sick of talking about it. It's, you know, every weekend there seems to be something that happens that involves VAR. The incident there, when I was just saying while I was watching, I was in Jersey watching it, and you know, we've played the game, and even watching it on the telly, you know when someone's offside. You know when someone's, and you know when someone's onside. I mean, it was the perfect run, and how they come to that conclusion was absolutely beyond me. And it sort of opened a can of worms, and they just never really got better from that, didn't they? They said they would look at things, and it just hasn't. It's just a difficult thing. I hate talking about it, to be honest.
You made the point, actually, you said that whilst we were watching the VT, that you hate talking about VAR, but it is here to stay. They're not going to take it away from the game. So what can be done to ensure that next season is better than this one has been?
A lot more. I still think it's going to take time. It's not just going to fix next season. Not just suddenly going to fix it. I think there's a lot of things you see it when they play on, when someone's clearly offside and then they have to wait for the play to. It just puts more pressure on the officials. The crowd get on top of them, whether that's why they're making mistakes. But I just think the biggest thing for me is when a goal goes in now, when your team scores, you have that excitement for about 2 seconds, and then you realise, oh, this is going VAR, which near enough more or less every goal does now. They've got to get a lot better. Jay mentioned the rugby have got it spot on, but they've had that for a few years. When you see, and I think one of the biggest issues has been as well, when you've seen the communication and you've seen these clippets that they release now, and when they're talking in VAR in the studio, how they're still coming to some decisions is unreal. When they're actually still looking at it again and again and again and still coming up or still delaying and still coming up with some decisions, I think it's made it even worse for them. But you're right, it's not going anywhere. There's too much money invested in it. But whether it gets a lot better, we hope so, but I don't think it's going to be any time soon.
The automated offsides that will be brought in next season at some point, I think will certainly help. Obviously they're in discussions now, making communication between referees and fans. I don't think they're at that stage where they can do that yet, because like Chris said, there's still so much controversy in there. Imagine the fans knowing what's going on as it happens and if they got it wrong. So that, I don't think that will come in anytime soon. They're obviously talking about ex-players as well, maybe sitting in the bunker. But then again, you'd be hard pushed to find a player that has an allegiance to all football clubs in the Premier League. It's just,
when you're getting statements from clubs about potentially officials being biased, as we saw with Nottingham Forest a few weeks ago, you're going to get even more of that, I think, with ex-players, aren't you?
I think everyone's just fed up with it. I mean, they shouldn't have done that. That's not professional, but I think people have got to the point now where they're just fed up with it. And they're right, they've had some shocking decisions against them. But you've still got to be professional about it. But like Jay said, he's sick and talking about it. I think everyone is now.
Well, let's stop. Let's stop talking about it. Just quickly.
Quickly. The marketing was, they're gonna clear up all the mistakes, aren't they, that have been made in the past. And I think what that does to everyone is like, oh right, well they won't get it wrong. And I think it frustrates players, not just fans, but it frustrates players because it's, for players, it's like you brought this technology in to take out all the controversy, the clear and obvious. It's like, and then it's not.
Because it's still subjective decisions, isn't it, made by human beings?
Because it's still subjective decisions.
Yeah, we could talk about this for another hour, but we're not going to. Instead, we'll take a check on today's Liverpool team. The details come from Peter McDowell.
Thank you, guys. And this Jurgen Klopp era is the end is almost upon us now. Game number 236, his last but one. Not that you will find him all dewy-eyed as he prepares for this one today. Jurgen Klopp, he wants to see a freshness about his team. Just over a week since their last encounter, and 2 very important days off that the players have been allowed this week as well, against the opposition, of course, where this adventure all started back in October of 2015. He had a couple of concerns this week, the main one being over Virgil van Dijk, who was only able to take part in some bits of team training, but he has battled through and he makes this starting 11 today. Just the one change that you were probably expecting is that Mo Salah comes back into that Liverpool starting 11 at the expense of Ryan Gravenberch. So let's get that team in full then. And it's Alisson in goal. How dearly he would like a clean sheet today. Endo, Virgil van Dijk, as I say, retains his place in the team and also wears that captain's armband again. Luis Diaz, who's had some good form against Spurs, scored in the last 2 here at Anfield, maintains his place in the side, as does McAllister. Salah back, he's on 24 goals now, 3 off 20 goals in a Liverpool shirt for the 5th time in his Liverpool career. Gakpo also continues, as does Harvey Elliott, Andrew Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who you might remember made his debut against Spurs back in 2016, and Jarell Quansah as well, one of the stories of Liverpool's season so far. Núñez has to make do with a place on the bench, 18 goals he's on now this season. Curtis Jones would love to get on the pitch as well for obvious reasons. He was sent off after 26 minutes of the encounter at Spurs' ground, of course. Gomez, Kelleher, Szoboszlai, Konate, Gravenberch, young Stefan Bajcetic amongst the substitutes, and also Conor Bradley as well, who took part in team training in full this week as well. We'll give you the Spurs team very soon. The headline there being that Richarlison drops to the bench, Bentancur comes in, and as you know, Liverpool have recovered 28 points from losing positions already this season. How they would like a really straightforward one against Spurs in the sunshine here this afternoon.
Indeed, so just that one change for Liverpool this afternoon. Mo Salah comes back into the team. A lot has been said about what happened at West Ham last week, hence the chuckle, I would suspect. But the wider point would be that particularly since the injury, since the African Cup of Nations, it has not been the same Mo Salah. He will be desperate for a productive final 3 games of this season.
Problem with Mo Salah is his bar is so high that when he just falls underneath it, it becomes quite apparent. And I think I agree with you. I think it's taken its toll. I think the pressure of where we are in the season, the pressure of having to, try and get over the line. I think Jurgen announcing as well his future, his own future, Mo Salah's future, which is, over the last year has been spoken about. And I think it all come to a head last weekend. I understand the manager's got to make some big decisions sometimes, and if a player isn't in form, that's what you get paid the big bucks to do, is take him out of the team. We've seen it with, for me, that's why Haaland was taken out of the team. People are saying, well, no, but I think Guardiola took Haaland out of the team because he wasn't performing, and then look what happens, he comes back, scores 4 yesterday. So yeah, sometimes you want a response, but in the right way. I don't think Mo's response last week was the right way. He's better than that. But he gets an opportunity today, and he should show everyone really what he's all about.
On his form then, and his season as a whole, his conversion rate 12.9%. Only once has he had a lower figure than that in a Premier League season, which ironically was the year that Liverpool won the Premier League title. But that suggests to you that he's still getting in the right positions, but he's not being as clinical as he has been at other times in his Liverpool career.
Yeah, I agree. I think with everyone else, I think it's just caught him a little bit. Hamstrings as well, for players dynamic as Mo and the speed and everything like that. Obviously the hamstring was a little bit more serious, and I think they were probably letting on. All the football they play, they finished, they've got the African Cup of Nations, everything they're involved in. There does come a point where it is going to catch up with you, and it certainly has. Again, last week, it's not good to see. No matter whatever the reasons for, you don't want to see that, because that just obviously opens up people criticising and saying there's an issue between Jurgen and Mo and stuff like that. Whether he's not, we'll never know. But for him, I mean, again, let's not forget what he's done for this football club. It's so easy these days to criticise people, to criticise things when they're not going well. Listen, he can't do it forever. He can't do it every single game, season in, season out. You're going to have dips, and this is one of his dips. And today he's back in, and I'm sure today he'll be dying to score a couple of goals.
Is there something to be said for certain players are rotated in and out, but actually Mo Salah is one who's been incredibly durable. He barely misses a game for Liverpool, and it's interesting that actually a sort of slight dip in form has come after a spell out of the team.
Yeah, but you know, like Kirky said, it catches up with you in the end. You know, and when they go away for international duty, everyone thinks they go on holiday and put their feet up. They don't. They travel around the world playing another football match or another 2 football matches within a week. So, you know, he never misses for Egypt. You're right, he hasn't missed for Liverpool, but there comes a point where it is going to catch up with you. And, you know, after the African Cup of Nations, after the injury, he just hasn't got back to that dynamic self. You're right, he gets himself in positions. He's had to adapt his position as well on the pitch for the way the team are playing. He is getting himself in them positions, but he's not the only one we need to be critical of and missing chances.
Yeah, age comes into it as well. So age comes into it. He's over the other side of 30 now, so your body. I mean, I remember, I don't know about you, but when you just feel different sometimes. When you get over that 30, you start feeling things more.
Feeling tired.
You start feeling tired mentally as well. And listen, these lads, the ones that are internationals, they probably get 2 weeks off in the summer, 3 weeks max, and then you're expecting them to go again all year round continuously. Eventually, something's got to give.
And you talk there about him not being the only one, and that's absolutely right. And you think back to the West Ham game last week, another match where Liverpool have had more than 20 shots, loads of possession, not clinical enough. The one player you would feel that they really are missing in terms of being totally ruthless is Diogo Jota, who seems to be the biggest natural finisher of those 5 Liverpool forwards.
Yeah, and when obviously we were in the mix for the title, we just got him back fit, hadn't we? And, you know, he was just finding himself. Jurgen was giving him minutes, starting to look sharp again, and then he picks up another injury just to add to the frustration of what's happened over the last 3 weeks. But yeah, out of all the strikers, you would probably say he's the one who's most clinical.
100%.
I mean,
1 in 2 is it, his goal record?
Yeah.
Since he's been at the club.
I'm a fan of Nunes. You know, he epitomises what Liverpool are really, is chaos in it. You know, I was talking to John Aldridge about it. John seems to think he blasts a lot of stuff, or he tries to fire everything in instead of just taking his time, taking a breath. But that's the way he plays, you know, and I'd stick with him. I certainly wouldn't point a finger at him. You know, you can.
I'd be more worried if he wasn't getting the chances.
Yeah.
Now, what he has got to start doing, he's got to start converting more chances, more into goals. But I would be more worried if he wasn't. And listen, when you've got pace, you know as well, when you're playing against pace, it puts the living daylights into the defenders. They are wary, and he's certainly got that. But he's just got to be a little bit more clinical, and that's what we all want to see. And he'll know that himself as well. He'll know that himself. He'll look back on some of them and think, maybe why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? But sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't think, do you? You just react. It's instinct. But listen, he's still young, with Jay as well. I agree. Stick with him, and hopefully he will come good for us.
Well, Tottenham's goalkeepers are just out to warm up. There's been a lot of chat actually about Guillermo Vicario. We'll talk to Chris about maybe some of their failings, particularly at set pieces a little bit later on. But just on the point about defence as a whole, you said it earlier on, and there's a very famous phrase in American sport: offence wins games, defence wins championships. You can talk about the forwards not being clinical enough, but more clean sheets needed.
Yeah, and stats prove that. I mean, let's go back to when we won the league second. We had the best defensive record. All the successful teams, I would have thought 9 times. I don't know the stats because I don't sit at home like some people do and go through them all. But you've got to be defensively solid. We've not kept enough clean sheets. We've given ourselves mountains to climb. I don't know how many games where we've gone down early.
16 Premier League games.
Again, you cannot get away with that all the time. It looked like we were going to do it at one point, but. I'm sure they know that, and the next manager that's going to come in, listen, he might not think that. He might just think, no, we're going to go out, whoever it's going to be, looks like this chap, obviously. He might think, no, we're going all out attack, we'll score more than you. But again, that catches up with you eventually, and it has done this season.
Well, full audio commentary of Liverpool against Tottenham coming your way at 4:30 this afternoon in the company of John Aldridge and Steve Hunter.
Thank you so much, Rob. Yes, looking forward to this one. Let's be brutally honest here. These next 2 games at Anfield, we've got 3 games to go. 2 games left at Anfield is going to be emotional. That last game, when You'll Never Walk Alone plays with Jurgen's Anfield finale, wow, man, that is going to be some final day, isn't it? It's going to be emotional here today too. And, you know, it's high emotions at Anfield today too, because earlier on this week, of course, we remembered 30 years since the last day of the Standing Cup, and to mark that occasion, the fan groups have got together and all the old banners are coming back into the Cup today to mark that occasion. I remember I was old enough, yes I was, to be here that day as a fan, right behind the dugouts actually, when it was a bit of a damp squib on the pitch when Jeremy Goss scored that incredible goal, wasn't it? But it didn't matter about that. It was all the memories, seeing legends like Sir Kenny, Joe Fagan, Billy Liddell coming out on the field with Albert Stubbins. Magical, of course, that was in the past. Today, of course, the visit of Tottenham. Well, that incredible game at Anfield last year. Remember that one? It was unreal, wasn't it? At one point, we were absolutely coasting in this game. And then Richarlison, the Everton hero of all people, comes off the bench and thinks he scored the last gasp winner. I mean, I can remember being in the gantry over there, and Richarlison is celebrating like mad, as he would be in an ex-blue. He's shushing the crowd with his finger. And then, seconds later, straight from the kickoff, Diogo Jota the Slotter, is in at the Cup, and he wins it for Liverpool. It was a magical memories, and seeing Richarlison's face at the end is certainly something I won't forget. It was an incredible one in the end, it really was. And of course, from what went on against Tottenham in the away game in London earlier on this season, as far as we are concerned, and Jurgen was absolutely spot on what he said. You know, he can think of 500 million reasons why we want to beat Tottenham today. What went on that day was wrong. Let's hope we can put it right on the field here today. Rod, it's all yours.
Steve, thank you very much indeed. Let's just point you in the direction of what else is coming your way this afternoon. If you're watching on social media, you are just about to leave us, but if you want to watch the rest of the pre-match show, available liverpoolfc.com/watch with details of how to do so. Steve and John Aldridge, as I said, bringing you full audio commentary from 4:30 this afternoon. We'll be back at 6:45 with Chris and with Jason, with interviews from the tunnel as well. And the Reaction podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts a little later on tonight. And you can watch full highlights of the game and the match in total from midnight. Short highlights 8:30, and then inside Anfield tomorrow with all the behind-the-scenes access on the club's official Facebook and YouTube channels. It'll get you behind the scenes, just like inside that dressing room. Mo Salah back for Liverpool today. Just the one change from that draw at West Ham. He replaces Ryan Gravenberch. Darwin Núñez still on the bench. We'll get details of the Tottenham team in just a couple of minutes' time.